Let's not act stupid around here.
Can we just be honest? Al Sharpton is the original grifter. So if you don't know, back in the days in New York, anytime there was any kind of racial conflict, this fat ass would show up in a jumpsuit and he would demonstrate.
The shade. Nate, we love you. The shade, Nate, we love you. This is classic. This is exactly what he did. This is exactly what he did with regard to everything. You heard? For those that might not have been here or known, if you live around the New York area, you know. Okay. Shout out to Deadly Raver. Appreciate you, hun. He said they want to cry that Trump cares about green. Newsflash. We all care about the green. Exactly. Especially when you have empty pockets and overloaded bills, which will lead right in good to the main story. Thank you so much, hon. I appreciate you. But child, these I wonder if he had a contract, maybe with FUBU, an affiliate link.
Against Jews, by the way, specifically, and get people super mad to the point where they nearly attacked Jewish people. And he was a menace, an absolute menace in the New York area. Okay. Now, if you criticize Al Sharpton, they go, "Oh, you're being a racist, racist." No. Why? Because he's not part of the establishment. So now his new mob, the establishment cartel, protects Al Sharpton, and as he runs the scam time and time again.
What do you want 50 years from now, history to say about Kamala Harris?
I hope that, and I really do work that my life will have proven to have been a life that is about fighting for the people.
She couldn't even answer a question that's about her and what she thinks. You hear all that stuttering? Hold on. You hear all that damn stuttering and y'all wanted to freaking sit up here and think that somebody feel bad about not electing her?
What do you want 50 years from now, history to say about Kamala Harris?
I hope that, and I really do work that my life will have proven to have been a life that is about fighting for the people.
Vice President,
ready
to bring the funk?
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Let's get right to it.
Okay, so we're going to talk about how the people who are interviewing Harris during the campaign got massive amounts of cash, either through their not-for-profits, media companies, what have you. And they're trying to say there's nothing to see here. Let's talk about it.
Come on, Nate.
The cost of that softball interview was a whopping $500,000. That is what the Harris campaign provided to Al Sharpton's nonprofit prior to her sit-down interview with Sharpton, and that's certainly raising some eyebrows, certainly because, it goes against common journalistic ethics. But nonetheless, the Harris campaign made two separate $250,000 donations to Al Sharpton's National Action Network, an anti-discrimination group, on September 5th and on October 1st. The National Action Network is an anti-discrimination group that discriminates. Okay. Coming weeks before Sharpton interviewed Harris on the network.
Okay, so let's understand what's going on here. This is, to me, my opinion, a form of payola. Right? I'm not going to give you the $500,000 directly because, I want to pretend that this has nothing to do with that. So I'm going to dump $500,000 into your not-for-profit, the National Action Network.
I hate to interrupt. Let's remember, and I know y'all know, but for the new people in the ear hustlers, Nate is a lawyer. Nate the lawyer is an actual real lawyer, not playing one on TV. He is a lawyer. I trust what he says when it comes to the law.
Now, obviously, Al Sharpton heads the National Action Network. He is going to control how that money is being spent. So he has that $500,000. And then we'll do the interview. Does that make it more likely that you're going to give me a softball interview or you're going to ask me real questions? And even ethically, how could MSNBC allow Al Sharpton to interview Harris without disclosing the donation, right? At the beginning of the interview, he's supposed to disclose it. The Harris campaign has donated $500,000 to the National Action Network, which I am the owner of or whatever. And then you say, okay. So at least people understand that there's this conflict of interest there going into this. But they didn't. And that should concern anyone who watches MSNBC. Because now I'm talking about, was Morning Joe paid? All those places that were pitching Kamala, who were saying that these were such great ideas, even in the face of the facts and reality of the situation, were they paid? Because it's obvious the softball interview she had with Al Sharpton was paid for in full.
Now, Sharpton did not mention the contributions that the Harris campaign made to his nonprofit at all. There was no disclosure about it whatsoever. And as far as MSNBC goes, they told Chuck Ross at the Washington Free Beacon that they were unaware of the campaign donation or the donation to the nonprofit owned by Al Sharpton. Now, that could be true. I don't know, but MSNBC would not confirm whether they're considering reprimanding Sharpton, if there's going to be any consequences for this. Now, the Society of Professional Journalists also told the Free Beacon, while Al Sharpton may not consider himself a journalist, many viewers do. When TV news broadcasters do not report their conflicts of interest or conduct their work in ways that run counter to ethical journalism, it builds distrust among their audiences and places a black eye on both their network and the profession.
Now let me pause the video real quick because here's a quick word from our sponsor, FlexiSpot. All right, folks, I'm going to talk to you about something that's haunted me.
All right, we're going to pass by FlexiSpot, but I'm trusting what Nate is saying. Plus, this looks crazy. Plus, we not stupid. Plus, we already knew what it was. But to hear these people talk about it, meaning the Young Turks, when they're so far left, is like the absolute clue that what they doing is bullshit. We already knew, but these people are so far left. At least they used to be. Meaning this Anna person, because Actual Justice Warrior talks about her all the time, all the time. And I have to start watching these people. This is where that Lionel Richie dude is at. And I didn't realize that. I don't know his name. What is his name? The black guy that get on my nerves. Can't stand him. Can't stand him. Gets on my nerves because everything with him is racist too. Child.
Earlier, I think it was last week, we had Representative Ro Khanna on the show, and we asked him the questions we wanted to ask him. Had Ro Khanna provided a donation to a nonprofit that doesn't exist, I don't have a nonprofit, I would at least have to disclose that to you, but that would be a conflict of interest. I wouldn't have taken that money to begin with because that money influences the way you're going to carry out this interview.
And that key fact that Anna just said makes sense. That's why I think a lot of people were shocked to see that Harris was paying off so many other interviewers. Here is, let's look at some of this. First reported, we have Reverend Al's 2050. So here's the actual FEC filings. So, I like to go right to the documents, but here's National Action Network, donation, $250,000, and then a contribution for $250,000. So this is from the federal election. So you see it yourself. Remember, we go to the source here. Now, Roland Martin got $350,000, New Vision Media. And that's the FEC report. So here it is, just so you guys can see it. So this is not made up. Harris for president, New Vision Media buy $350,000.
Remember, Rolly Roll said he should have got more. Black media should have got more. Oh, okay. It always got to be about blackity black, which, listen, let your grift be what a TI is. But you can't even disclose it. I told y'all, if we got a sponsorship or something here on YouTube, we have to disclose it, even if it's just a thing that flashes up. We are required to disclose it, or guess what? We be on up out of here. But they can just do whatever and think, first of all, that it wasn't going to come to pass. They probably thought it wasn't going to come to pass. But when you get 1.5 bill and you waste 1.5 bill, people going to be asking some questions that donated to that 1.5 bill. You don't get a penny from me. But when people donate millions of dollars and you just think you're going to be like, child, I got to go make some collard greens in the daggone bathtub, and you think you're just going to get away with that? No, and you think that person should be president, and they still out here touting this woman saying that she did nothing wrong? Woo! This is, again, it's not all on Cam. It's all on Democrats, the Democratic Party, Nancy, Obama, all of them. They think they still want to do stuff the way back in the day way. Obama thought he was going to come up here and get people to just come out and be like, yes, we can. Yes, we can, nigga. That's not where we at now. I don't know where you been, nigga, up there in the, what is it, Martha's Vineyard. But child, that ain't how it work no more.
Nigga, please.
And last but not least, the big dog out the group, Oprah Winfrey, she got $1 million. Some people are reporting more now, but that's Harper Production. That's her production company. So production companies, not-for-profits, and their media companies all are getting hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, the reason why the MSNBC one is getting a little bit more scrutiny today with TYT is because Al Sharpton is an employee of MSNBC. And if he's taking a kickback from the person he's about to interview on behalf of MSNBC, that's the ethics of that are crazy. And matter of fact, it's so disgusting that would happen, right? And then for MSNBC to not disclose it, they said they weren't even aware of it, is another issue, and that makes this interview even more suspect. But Harris didn't win the election. I don't think this interview is going to help her win the election. But it really shows you how, when it comes to Democrats spending money frivolously, this is it. She could have went on Joe Rogan for free and reached 100 million people. She went on without Sharpton. And how many views did this get? All right, here's the interview, 266,000 views. That's it. That's all they got. And she paid, what, $500,000 for that? Well, damn. My videos get more views than that. She could have came on my channel and got.
Shout out to Nate and the shade. I love the shade between PBL and Nate today. I love the shade. Shout out to facts, though. That's a fact, period, point damn blank. Nate does get better views. Hell, the lead attorney, there's plenty of people that get better views than Al fucking Sharpton because he's only talking to a limited amount of people. Okay? Shout out to Rose. She said, shouldn't he lose his job? In normal life, you would. But you know, when you're one of the biggest race grifters, when you're one of the ones that got the biggest voice to enough black people, because black people want to continue to follow this man for some odd reason, then they're probably scared to do so because there'll be a big old to do. And then they look a mess anyway. But once the next person buys it, which I heard that Elon Musk is not allowed, I think that would be too much power for that man. But who the hell else can afford it? Maybe, what is his name? The black guy that tried to buy, he bought the Weather Channel. Is it Byron, the football player? You know who I'm talking about? Maybe he can come buy it because he was trying to buy something at some point. I don't think he was allowed to do it. Let Bill Cosby do it. Bill, what you doing? Bill Cosby was trying to buy CBS or NBC, one of them. And that's when all of a sudden, his shit started up. Interesting how that works. Yeah, Byron Allen. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yes. So now what? Did Al just get to do what Al wanted to do because he was able to get people riled up and get behind him, which is why I say for all the people that are out here talking about, we need some help. We need some help. Where's your black leaders at? Cha. Where are your black leaders at? Because Al could get eyes behind anything, but he don't be coming for y'all, but he expect y'all to do what he says. All right, child, whatever y'all say.
Yeah, I got a bigger audience than the 266,000 she did on MSNBC. Now, obviously, this is all corrupt stuff. It may not be illegal, but it's obviously corrupt. And one thing I got to now agree with Cenk about is that he's going to call out this ridiculous corruption.
Okay, can we just be honest? Al Sharpton is the original grifter. So if you don't know, back in the days in New York, anytime there was any kind of racial conflict, this fat ass would show up in a jumpsuit, and he would demagogue against Jews, by the way, specifically, and get people super mad to the point where they nearly attacked Jewish people. And he was a menace, an absolute menace in the New York area, okay? And then all that got magically forgiven.
I thought people couldn't talk about the Jays. That's the signature of death. But Al could get away with it and still be standing and end up on MSNBC and be a first generational millionaire. But he gonna tell y'all can't do it because of racism. Do you hear what I'm saying? Oh my God, I just don't understand. What the fuck? These people don't give a fuck.
And why did he get forgiven when that stuff never gets forgiven?
Why did it get forgiven?
Because he decided to embrace professional corruption. He was running 2-bit scams back in the day because he didn't know any better, right? But he's a smart guy, so he wisened up and he's like, oh, the way the professionals do this is they kiss the ass of the donors, they kiss the ass of the politicians, and they get the real money, the big money. And did he shake down a lot of businesses saying, hey, if you don't give me money, I'm going to call you racist? Okay, go ahead and catch feelings. Yes, he did. Okay, and you want to know how Comcast was allowed to merge and actually acquire NBC and MSNBC? They had a massive race problem. Al Sharpton came in and said, no, they don't. They don't have any race problem. Guess where Al Sharpton wound up? Hired by Comcast at MSNBC. Funny how that works.
Which Cenk is actually saying is correct. And I found a clip from CNN to prove.
There he is. Shout out to Byron Allen. Shout out to Byron Allen. He was a football player, right, y'all?
What he's saying is correct.
He's a host on MSNBC and one of America's most prominent, outspoken civil rights activists. And now Al Sharpton, along with Comcast and Time Warner Cable, are facing a $20 billion lawsuit over alleged racial discrimination against black-owned media companies. Now, in the complaint, Byron Allen, a comedian, TV presenter, and CEO of Entertainment Studios, alleges that Comcast gave Al Sharpton that 6 p.m. show on MSNBC, for which he's been paid approximately $750,000 per year, despite notoriously low ratings, and in exchange for his continued public support for Comcast on issues of diversity.
Real simple. The cable industry, AT&T, DirecTV, Comcast, Time Warner, they spend about $50 billion a year licensing cable networks and advertising, with less than $3 million per year going to 100% African-American owned media. Now, what they do is they make token donations to people like Al Sharpton, the NAACP, the Urban League, and after taking those donations, they negotiated a fraudulent MOU that says this is okay for black people to live by. What America needs to understand is that Al Sharpton does not speak for me. Al Sharpton does not speak for black people. It's like I ask people, who is the white person who speaks for you? It's racist to even believe that Al Sharpton is the go-to person.
So, Jake.
Listen, I'm appreciating all the people telling the truth today, whether others want to believe it or not. Even with Nate showing the receipts and Byron actually saying what a TI is. He always show up. Colors, shout out to the black people. He don't ever come to your neighborhoods for your issues. He said what Byron Allen and what Nate just said is the alleged same thing as what Trayon is doing allegedly in DC, and he got rehired. And then people think that Tiffany Henyard cannot get rehired. It is the gift, pause, the grift that keeps on grifting. And you coloreds keep falling for it, listening to fucking blogs, listening to the people that are scamming your ass. Come on. This man has been doing this shit since Tawana Brawley, the Central Park Five, Trayvon Martin, Sonia Massey. Why does he show up to the funerals? Why did he not say anything about that cop that got GUN down? That was a D9er at that. Nothing to say about that. Nothing to say about that. Only when it's going to line his MF in pockets. Because if y'all don't think that these people get paid, you think Ben Crump doing this out of kindness of his heart? Bueller. Do y'all think that Ben Crump is doing it out of kindness of his heart? Lawyers get a percentage. If your ass has ever been in a car accident and you sued and you got money, guess how much goes to the lawyer typically? A third of whatever you get. So you better aim high because the lawyer is working in advance to get paid later. That's how it works. Stop this. No one said that there is no fucking racism. It's just not the reason that you're being held back. You are being held back because of you and because you listen to niggas like this. Not Byron Allen, child.
And does not speak for black people. It's like I ask people, who is the white person who speaks for you? It's racist to even believe that Al Sharpton is the go-to person.
So Jake came with some receipts.
Right? He got way better on his grift, okay? And he's been taking this kind of money his whole life, and that's why he does the softball news. That's why if you criticize Al Sharpton in the old days, people are like, God damn, yes. Now if you criticize Al Sharpton, they go, well, you're being a racist. Racist! No. Why? Because he's now part of the establishment. So now his new mob, the establishment cartel, protects Al Sharpton, and as he runs the scam time and time again. And there he is sitting on Morning Joe as they lecture about good journalism, a story we covered earlier in the show, right?
Wow.
Come on.
Look, I knew some of that about Al Sharpton. I didn't know about him shaking down businesses in New York.
Now, the race hustle shakedown grift was a familiar grift, right?
Woo! Let me get that picture right there, child. Pause. Woo! Child. Shout out to these colors. I'm not going to act like I never listened to Al Sharpton, y'all. I'm not even going to play y'all like that. I used to listen to him every Sunday morning. He got a radio show, right? And then after a while, it's like, all this nigga talk about is racism. Just like I used to listen to DL, Clown L, many moons ago. Well before, when I listened to these people, it was many moons ago. It wasn't last year. It wasn't 3 years ago. It wasn't 5 years ago. It was many moons ago. And all he ever did was talk about fucking racism, DL, and what some white person did. And I'm like, nigga, do you have anything else to talk about, child? Because that is the only thing that come out his damn mouth.
Nigga, please.
And still to this day, that's all that comes out of his mouth. I'm trying to get my husband to stop listening to him. He listens to D.L. Hughley, and I'll be like, why do you listen to him? Why do you? Something to listen to on the way home. Child, turn that damn Sirius on, child. Stop listening to that man. He's crazy. He's crazy.
You know, Al Sharpton shows up, calls racism. You got protests and everything. And to stop the protests and to stop the mobs, they would, give a donation to the National Action Network, of X amount of dollars. And guess what? The protests go away. So it was a way of, essentially like the mob, a way of getting money out of people's pockets by threatening them with that.
Just because he took a picture with Trump doesn't mean that Trump is not racist. Mm-hmm.
Press about racism. And Al Sharpton was able to galvanize people and get people out there to stand on that street corner and say, hey, these people are racist, don't shop here or whatever. And that had an impact. So if you're a business owner and you need people to shop there, you're going to pay whatever needs to be paid to get butts walking through that door, right?
Wow, child, he was hanging out with everybody, huh? He was hanging out with everybody. Shout out to Republic Room, I apologize. She said Al had to have gastric bypass surgery in order to lose the weight. And he did. He probably the one that started this mess.
The racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
I'm sure he started that.
With allegations of racism.
Oh, I mean, he went on and on. He was in the middle of creating riots. So he would go into the most, flammable situations, for lack of a better word, and he would come in there with a match and start lighting things on fire, right?
Wow, sounds very familiar, huh? Wash, rinse, repeat.
When he went after, he said, "Oh, the Jews are running these businesses," and riled people up against Jewish Americans. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen. And okay, so that happens from time to time with Nick Fuentes, etc. But Nick Fuentes is like
persona non grata.
Yeah, he's
right?
totally shunned by everyone who's legitimate. But Al Sharpton welcomed with open arms. Why? Because he switched up his grift. And he realized that establishment grift is the best grift of all. You set up a nonprofit, they funnel you $500,000, you kiss their ass on air, and if anybody accuses you of anything, you just call them racist. So he's been playing identity politics his whole life. He's nothing but a grifter. So if any of you catch feelings over that, because were part of his grift, and he donated a little bit to your show, or he donated a little bit to your organization, by the way, that's a smart way to run the grift. What you do is you dole out a little tiny taste of the money you got from giant corporations, etc., so that everybody shuts up about the scam that you're running. So there you go. And look, I didn't say any of it was illegal. It's my opinion that he's a giant grifter, okay? And you could look up all that information on your own.
I'm definitely about to pull that clip. You're racist from this guy. I love it. I love it. And it's the effing truth. It is the effing truth. How people cannot see this is beyond me. He's been pulling the same damn thing. He always locked in arms. He always show up for the same damn things. Then all of a sudden everything goes haywire, or he gonna talk about it. And then you go down there and then things go haywire. So technically, since it's usually black women out there fighting for the country, remember, because they stepping back, they minding their black ass business, even though that's a lie, allegedly. Then it's y'all's fault. But somehow, some way, I'm sure it'll be crusty, musty, rusty, dusty, ashy ass bum's fault, even though y'all gentlemen are not out there on the front lines like that. It is always women. It is always women. It's my mother. It's her friends. It's always that bullshit. And it's like, child, ain't nobody got time for that bullshit. No, I'm not doing it, especially on the strength of somebody that wouldn't do that shit for me. And you got to pick and choose when you're going to be out there fighting for something. You cannot be fighting for every damn thing. And what you're not going to do is sit up here and say it's always somebody else's fault where we allegedly don't do anything wrong. That's why people hate hearing me. That's why they leave all the nasty comments. That's why they be big mad. Because at the end of the day, you want me to go along with Al and all the rest of those people, and they full of shit. They scamming y'all's asses. It don't even matter whether or not you donate to them, because if you over there watching the shit and you living by what they say, you are a part of the problem. And that's why you can't get anywhere, because if you ain't listening to nothing that's going to advance your fucking brain, then you going to stay right where the fuck you are, and he going to sit up here and tell you that you can't do it because of damn racism, and you start believing that shit. Anyway.